I saw a screensaver on his phone, which was the Prophet's Mosque.
Okay.
And from that, I was like, wow, where's that? It's like, it's in Medina. So, it's Medina. It's like, Saudi Arabia. I'm like, let's go next week. The bacon sales alone, like, stuff it a lot, but it was like close to $10,000 a week. I was like, you know what? I'm just going to remove it. The staff say anything. I was like, well, tough luck.
How do you develop that mentality of, listen, I need to make this money, but I need to make sure I can't slip and slide into haram?
There are many key factors that you need to be a successful business owner or entrepreneur.
So how does one acquire that skill? How does one develop that skill of selling?
Oh, wow. Okay. The big turning point was when my daughter was born. I didn't see her for 4 months.
But you turned your hobby into money.
Easy. It was pretty fun.
What's the most expensive car you ever sold?
I was making more than my school teachers.
Give it a year, maybe 2 years, but we're going to be one of the biggest in the scene.
Alhamdulillah, wassalatu wassalamu ala rasulillah, amma ba'd. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Brothers, and if there are any sisters that are watching, welcome back to another episode of Righteous and Rich. This is a podcast where we show brothers that it's possible for you to combine and balance between aspiring to be extremely on your deen, firm on your deen, uncompromising on your deen, whilst at the same time working towards a mass amounts of wealth, so you can use that wealth in the service of this deed and as a means and as a tool to help you get to the next life. Today we have Brother Jimmy.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum assalam wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. And Abubakr, of course, who is my co-host, my co-brother,
Inshallah.
my co-guy,
Inshallah.
Mr. Satirical.
I'll take it, inshallah.
So to give you guys a brief introduction to Brother Jimmy, he's a brother, revert brother, Allah Barik, from Australia. Entrepreneur, businessman, Allah Barik. You had a few coffee shops?
Yes, I had 2 coffee shops and a restaurant as well.
And a restaurant, Allah Barik, which we're going to talk about in a bit more detail. Currently, you're, Allah Barik, you've set up a car rental company, Premier Supercar Rental. You work with the brothers with regards to that as well, Allah Barik. We're going to tell you guys all the information so you can check them out here in Dubai. Also, you buy and you sell
Cars.
Yeah. Allah Barik. Which is one of the reasons that our other co-host today, who is currently not present, he'll be walking any second. That's also, mashallah, his bread and butter as well. So I thought it would be nice to have him on. You guys will be able to kind of, relate and develop the conversation a little bit further. So, Allah Barik, akhi, man. So, look, we met, with the meeting was set up between yourselves and Abubakr, right? And stuff with regards to the car rental company. We met in the Supercar Majlis Cafe on Wassel Street. And to be honest, I was pleasantly surprised by yourself and Brother Mahmoud's approach to business. And one of the things that really struck out to me was, a conversation where, you guys were really expressing the importance of wanting to do things right and not engage in haram. I remember you were quite passionate about wanting to be involved in riba and so on and so forth, not getting these cars on finance, and even discussions around the marketing, want to do things right. And that really amazed me, Allah Barik. And I feel like we need to showcase more of this, because which in this day and age, like, people just feel like the only way to make money is to disobey Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But they forget that wealth is something that is the property of Allah, and He gives to whomever it is that He wills. So I'm just really interested, because you've been a revert for how long?
I believe it's just over 3 years.
Over 3 years?
It's like 3 years and 2 days now.
Allah Barik. 3 years and 2 days.
Yeah.
MashaAllah, tabarakallah. So may Allah Azza wa Jalla keep you steadfast to the end. Ameen. People in Muslim their whole lives, they don't necessarily have that mentality. How do you develop that mentality of, listen, I need to make this money, but I need to make sure I can't slip and slide into haram?
How do I develop that mentality?
Mm-hmm.
And it's kind of saying, like, there was a purpose for why I reverted or converted, whatever you guys want to call it, right?
Mm-hmm.
And with that purpose, do you just do it? And just for the fun of it, just for the name of it, just for the title, or you're going to go the whole way and do it properly? So me converting to Islam, I had a lot of opportunities to, with my businesses that I've had in Sydney,
mm-hmm.
to, go through riba and then obviously progress quicker and further.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Then the thoughts I was like, well, I'm now a Muslim.
Mm-hmm.
What are the rules?
Mm-hmm.
What do we have to abide by?
Mm-hmm.
Stick to them.
Allah
Simple as that.
But you know what's shocking is that one would think, if I was to engage in riba, then I'll be able to progress fast. Like for example, person would think, you guys set up the car rental company, right? So in order to get as many cars on my fleet, I'd have to finance them and take loans and pay back interest. But Allah barik, if I'm not mistaken, forgive me, I'm a bit juvenile when it comes to the car space, so feel free to correct me if I make any mistakes. But Allah barik, you guys had, mashallah, initial capital that was put in, but also at the same time, you guys are offering brothers in opportunities to invest by purchasing cars given to you guys which you rent out, and your fleet's just growing.
Alhamdulillah.
Right?
Alhamdulillah.
Without having to take out loans. That's actually nuts when you think about it. It shows there's alternatives and opportunities for everything. I actually spoke to my sheikh about this in Pakistan. He was saying, wallahi, there's always alternatives. It's just that we're blindsided by the one door that closed. We don't see the two doors that open. Allah Azza wa Jalla actually said in the Quran, فَإِنَّ مَا الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا إِنَّ مَعَ الْعُسْرِ يُسْرًا, that with every difficulty there is ease. And he repeated it twice to show you that for every one ease for every one difficulty there are two eases. So for every one door that's closed on you, two are open. So now, Allah barik, it's like your fleet may grow, and I expect it to, inshallah, may Allah put barakah in it, faster than if people were financing.
Of course.
And you don't even have to take the burden of debt without the interest, let alone with the interest on top and the displeasure of Allah Azza wa Jalla. So that actually, I think, is it speaks to the truth that when you obey Allah Azza wa Jalla, Allah puts barakah in what you do and so on and so forth.
I have no doubt, inshallah, give it a year, maybe 2 years, but we're going to be one of the biggest in the scene. Because at the end of the day, as you said, if you leave something off for the sake of Allah, Allah will replace it with something better.
100.
And there's actually benefits that come to not having finance. Like if, let's just say for argument's sake, we ever had a quiet month, we don't have finance payments to make on each and every single car that we have to pay every single month. Like it's just all money that's coming back to the company. Does that make sense? We've been able to not only, it's not only an opportunity for the company to make money, but also, like you said, there's brothers, alhamdulillah, so far 4 brothers have invested, alhamdulillah, money they had sitting on the side. They weren't sure what to do with it, because it's like, how can I invest my money in a halal way? I don't know what's going on. Like, so we showed them the model, business plan, etc. They were happy with the returns. They're very happy with the returns.
So what is the model? Just briefly, in case anyone is interested.
So, I mean, put simply, you buy a car. We can help you with that process. We buy the car for you. We search the market. We're always looking on the market for, cars that are coming that have a good high return on investment. You own 100% of the car. You get 50% of the rental that the car generates, and 0% of the headache and stress that all goes to Jimmy. And it's just a way to make passive income. And obviously we try and purchase cars that are below the market rate, therefore depreciation isn't too much of an issue either. We're always going to be advising, so look, it's getting to a point now, the car's at a point where we believe it would be a good time to sell. You don't want it to depreciate too much when the mileage goes really high, and at the same time you don't want it to get too old either. So these are things that people consider. But in terms of return on investment, depending on the car, like we saw a car the other day, it was an American muscle car. There's a brother that's the brother from Cheap Meals, Ali.
Yeah.
He's looking to invest as well, inshallah. So I'm showing him, and on that particular car, he's looking at between 45 to 55% return on investment per year.
Allah barik.
That's just his 50%.
Yeah.
That's just his 50%.
Crazy.
So
And
it is a very lucrative market, especially here in the UAE. It's very competitive. It's a lot cheaper. In the UK, to rent like a Lamborghini, you're looking at like £1,500, £2,000. Here, you get one for like £500-600. So
where can they find you, guys?
Premier Supercars Dubai. You can see it right here, inshallah.
Right here.
I love that. MashaAllah.
Instagram everywhere, inshallah.
By the way, if you're interested in investing in a supercar with us, Premier Supercars Dubai, then you can email me directly at contact@themusafir.com, and we can, inshallah, help you double your money, inshallah, within 2 to 3 years while owning a supercar. With that said, let's get back into the episode.
Jimmy, let me ask you a question, bro. Why cars? Like, in the sense where, like, to me personally, I'm a person who never really grew up with the interest in cars. It's weird. All the guys around me love cars. It's crazy. I never really got into it, but I always saw cars as like a luxury, as a toy for enjoyment. But nowadays, I'm seeing a lot of brothers looking at cars as a way to kind of invest or to trade and make money off. So, like, why did you choose this? Because, mashallah, you could have set up a restaurant, Allah barik. You had a restaurant, you let that go. The coffee shops also, your car rentals and car trading. Why?
To be honest, I think it stems from like at a younger age, right? So in high school, I was always into cars. I always had, the nicest Hondas in school. So from that, it pretty much stems from that. The car culture in Sydney, Australia is massive.
Okay.
So as that progressed, that was probably my first interest in cars. And then as it progressed, where I started to make more money as an adult, and then it was my progression from leaving hospitality and going into cars, where it's like, okay, I have a spare, $1, $2, or $300,000. Let's go buy a R32 GTR. Let's buy an R33. Let's buy an R34. Let's buy the Evo. Because all my shops are under management. Just have some fun. Finally enjoy what I've achieved. So I was buying them all at a ridiculous price. Very, very cheap price or decent price. Driving it for about a month or two, then I'll flip it
As
off.
in for your own purposes?
Yeah,
just
for my own purposes.
To have fun.
Okay,
Yeah, to have fun.
Okay,
Really, just to
Allah
have fun,
MashaAllah.
Because I work 7 days a week, 18 hours a day. I don't stop.
Islam.
So I needed to give myself a break at that time.
Okay.
So that's where I started to buy those Jap import cars. And from that, after I got bored of them, I sold them, moved them on, made 5, 10, 15,000. I was like, this is quite lucrative.
Quite good money. Okay.
Yeah. And all I'm doing is just enjoying the cars, driving them to the gym, just driving around where I live, and then just selling them. And I'm just doing it privately through, in Australia we've got car sales. I think you guys have Auto Trader.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's quite easy. It's pretty fun. Let's keep going with this. Keep going with this. Then eventually, as the economy in Sydney was starting to really dip and starting to fall, that's when I was like, all right, this is my time to exit from hospitality. And then why not just keep playing around with the cars? I get to spend more time at home, go to the gym for as long as I like, do whatever I want to do. And it just progressed from that.
It's like a way to just wind down. Some people play video games. But just give me a nice car. I'll just drive it for half an hour. Well, it's the same thing. You play Call of Duty, you play Forza 1, I do Forza 1.
But I don't know what that.
It's a car racing game.
Oh, okay. Forgive me. No, but you know what I just love about that though, bro? There's a couple lessons to be taken from there. Lesson number one is always keep your eye out for the opportunity. Opportunities are always present themselves all around us. And Allah Barik, most people would have just bought the car, sold it, made a quick $15,000 or whatever have you, and not thought, wait, hey, this is possibly a very lucrative business model. Most people don't actually just stop to ponder on the opportunities that are around us, the crazy opportunities. But the second thing is that, bro, you turned your hobby into money. And that's one of the things I always try to encourage brothers. Like, there are things, there's a brother I know, Brother Dean, right? I was sitting with him. He's a very good brother, very, very creative type of brother, very ambitious, Allah Barik. But he's working for like a company in retail. And I can tell that he wants to do bigger things. And I can see him doing bigger things. So as we're talking, he's like, oh, I want to set up a clothing company. I want to do this, I want to do that. But I need money, I need capital to invest and so on and so forth. I was like, bro, are there no skills that you have that you can monetize? He's like, not really. And this is not a person that's insecure. Very confident guy, Allah Barik. But he genuinely didn't believe. And I said, that's a lie, bro. I said, you're a person who's up to date with fashion. We used to give away these trainers for events in the masjid. And I used to always call him and I used to take him with me. I said, bro, what is the trainer that the kids are going to come to the masjid for if I offer to give it away? He said, no worries, we're going to go together. We're going to go down to, was it Regent Street, Bond Street, where they have all the shops in London. And he told me, right?
Oxford Street.
It's the real Oxford Street. Yeah, the actual Oxford Street, isn't it? Off Regent Street. So he said, buy this belt, get this hat, this shoe, trust me, they're going to love this. And he was always right. Not only that, he's really into like up-to-date, trendy stuff, like do this activity, go to this place, go to this restaurant. I said, people will pay you to, for example, put together, like, like when it comes to travel and tourism, like if you just vlogged your journey, travel around the world, showing people all of the interesting places to go through, the halal alternatives, how to avoid the haram, how to have fun, doing this, doing that, put together packages for them, show them how to have a good day. There's definitely a way you can monetize this. And he was like, whoa. I said, bro, I would pay you. Like, I would pay you to find out. Like, if you said to me, pay me so I can tell you what shoe the kids are going to love right now, I would have paid you for that. Okay, I had a specific objective, but people, just to keep up to date with the trends, the fashions, there's people that are interested in these things. The same way you're interested, there are people that will be also interested and people willing to pay you. So you turned your hobby, something that you do for leisure, into a way to make money. I think that's profound.
So was that the first experience you had with business? Like, what was the actual first? Did you get a job first after leaving studies, and then?
First ever, I guess, business was in I think it was year 10 or year 11. This is when Tumblr was around. I'm not sure if you guys are aware of Tumblr. Yeah, so in Sydney or Australia, I was probably the first online Tumblr store.
Tumblr what?
Store. Yeah.
Or store.
What did you sell?
I saw knockoff shoes from China and GHDs, so the hair straighteners.
GHDs,
Yeah. So I remember after school, after I fulfill all the orders, once a week I'll be, say, traveling around or whatever where the segment is for all those orders. And my boot is just full of items that people have purchased. And I just mark off everyone's names. So we set up in a car park, open up the boot, everyone's lined up. What's your name? Okay, how much do you owe? Boom, next.
But let's take a step back though. Yeah. What made you even get to the stage where you realized that I could go to Tumblr as a place to set up a store when most people, I mean, it was ludicrous, except for people that were very into like tech and had a forward-thinking mindset of setting up online stores, especially on a social media platform. And not specifically to sell these type of products. Like what was the thought process? Because I feel like some people, you can give them the mechanics, but they still won't do it. Because there's a mindset and an attitude beforehand that's foundational.
So you're saying that how did I come up with that?
Yeah.
What gave you the entrepreneurial streak?
To be honest, I think it was just thinking about how do I get exposure from all these items? Because I got this opportunity, right? Like I'm Chinese. So it was very easy for me to get stuff from China and send over to Sydney and at a very, very good price.
Mm-hmm.
You know, let's say if you guys inquired, it would be a different price comparing to me because I'll talk to them in Mandarin. Completely different. They treat you differently, unfortunately, but I had to use
that's
it.
That's in any country, any case, any situation.
Of course. You know, and I used to just sell it in school. I was like, cool, I have these, I don't know, Air Jordans. I've got these Air Max 90s. You want to pay this much or this much? And they're like, yeah, all right, no worries. It's like, all right, well, I got friends from other schools and I need to get more exposure. I'm not going to go put it up on a billboard, you know. So what was the best way? Everyone was using Tumblr at that time. I was like, all right, well, why not just put up the shoes? Let's go from there.
Amazing. So in a sense where you were asking yourself, where is the attention?
That's right.
Like, where is the focus?
One thing I find quite uncanny about Jimmy is things that require other people to learn. For him, it's just logic, bro. Like, you know, some of the question you're answering is like, bro, what do you mean? Like,
it makes it sound like it's common sense.
It's common sense. Yeah. Like, people don't understand this. And I was like, no, really. As in, this conversations that we've had about the car rental company, should we do this, should we do that? He's like, yeah. As in, of course we do that. I thought with amazing ideas, like, yeah, no, I said that makes sense, right? I think that's what we should be doing.
But that's what I'm saying. You know, what, a lot of things in life are actually just come back down to first principle thinking, and just straightforward things. But I feel like we sometimes overcomplicate it.
So,
if you also aspire to be a successful entrepreneur, but don't have an idea of where to start, which business route to go down, then we might be able to help you. At the Umrah Setup 2.0, we've been helping brothers set up their own successful and profitable Umrah companies. If that sounds like something that you'd be interested in, then click the link below, jump on a call with one of our team to see if this program is the right fit for you. With that said, once more, let's get back into the episode, inshallah.
So,
did you come from like a family that was entrepreneurial? Did you have like business in the family? Was that kind of something that was there or not really?
Not really. Like we grew up quite poor, right? My parents were immigrants. My dad was in a refugee camp.
Really?
Yeah. So
in Australia? Or?
Yeah, in Australia, to get through, you know. So in saying that, like my parents both worked 2 free jobs each, right? I had my grandmother looking after me while everyone was working until she passed away, and then my mum had to just work 1 job, you know, just the time when I'm in school. So we all worked, well, my family worked very, very hard. Then eventually, you know, they opened up their own remedial massage clinic through there. And I guess that was the real first taste of business that I saw. Because I used to just randomly read their books or whatever their accounting, what that they've done. I was just very fond of numbers for some reason. You know, so I just kept reading. I was like, oh, okay, this is cool. Dad, how come in this month you had more? How come in this month there was less? You know? So would it be, say, entrepreneurial? Hard to say, really. But I think where it stemmed from was seeing my parents struggle. You know, where they couldn't look after me. I had my grandmother look after me. You know, seeing them work 2 free jobs.
Allah.
It was very hard on me. Even as a child, I was like, oh, where's mum, where's dad? You know, what are they doing? Why is grandma always feeding me? Why is grandma always here? So that, I guess, really cemented something in my heart, right? Then as I was progressing through life, I was like, well, I don't want to study. I don't want to go to university. I don't want to do this, or this. That first taste of me selling shoes and hair straighteners worked out very well. I was probably making profit of 5,000 Australian dollars a week. I was making more than my school teachers, you know. So I was like, I think I have a brain. I can do something, right? Further on. And then eventually I was like, my goal is to not have, I guess, not put my family through what I had to go through. You know, that was the main thing. I don't want to be, say, working 2-3 jobs, my wife working 2-3 jobs, and my kids can't see anyone. No one to really raise them, right? So that was the biggest motivation driver, one of the biggest. And the second was to make sure that my parents retire and that I look after them. Alhamdulillah, they did. And then they unretired themselves because my dad got bored. Alhamdulillah.
Yeah. You know what's actually beautiful about that is that people really underestimate the importance of providing for your family. Like even in the deen of Allah, there are so many hadith where the Prophet ﷺ is encouraging us to take care of our family members to the point where aman is sinful. Aman is, the Prophet said, كَفَى بِالْمَرْءِ إِثْمًا أَنْ يُضَيِّعْ حَقَّ مَنْ يَعُولَ أو كما قال. It is enough for a person to have sinned, i.e. he doesn't need any more sin. Like he's reached the pinnacle of sin. For him to forsake the rights and the duties that he has to those who he is a custodian over, those who he's taking care of. So for a man to not, for example, provide for his wife and whatnot. Now, of course, if a person not able to due to their circumstances, that's a different story because they, you know, whatever have you. But as in to have that as a motivator that I want to provide for my family. Because in most people's mind, you think, okay, cool. When you hear people talk about, I want to amass wealth so I can do khair with it, so I can give money to this and I can give money to that, and they do. I still got family members that are starving, and that's criminal. Like as in there's a hadith the Prophet as I mentioned to Sa'ad radiyallahu anhu that you'll be rewarded by Allah even if you placed a spoon of food in your wife's mouth, as long as you intended it for Allah's sake. So this is actually something so profound. Like as in nowadays, you know, we released the podcast the other day about how men should work and their wives shouldn't, and of course they shouldn't have to work in the deen of Allah to provide it for, right? And there were actually some people got rubbed the wrong way in the comments saying 21st century, bro, both man and wife have to work. It's embarrassing.
What I find profound is that you weren't even Muslim at that time. And usually you find that people that have these kind of principles and whatnot, like from even before Islam, usually they're the ones that end up reverting because they see the alignment between the principles that they already have and then the Islamic values that come with that.
So just quickly, because I want to come back to you, but I want to ask you a question, bro, because you came at the perfect time. So what we were talking about, to bring up to speed. No, that's cool. Don't worry, inshallah.
It's not cool, but don't worry, we'll talk about after.
So obviously, mashallah, Jimmy was talking about how Allah Barik, he has some capital from his coffee shop, so I'm not mistaken. You bought some cars, Allah Barik, to enjoy, ended up selling them after and realized, wait, this is actually very profitable. Someone might be thinking, okay, cool, well, but I don't already have massive capital to be able to buy Lamborghinis and then sell them and make profit. But one of the things that you teach brothers, Allah Barik, is you can buy something out of...
But basically do that, but not with Lamborghinis.
That's what I'm saying. So you can buy something that's a lot cheaper.
Yes.
Like £1,000.
Yeah.
Or
sell Lamborghinis for people that can't sell them.
So okay, cool.
Like a broker.
Like a broker, yeah. Okay, cool. And take commissions. Or, for example, I think on the day-to-day you're teaching brothers and you have a course on this, right? Is the
how to basically make money from trading cars, buying and selling vehicles.
So I want to ask you a question.
Yeah.
Can you actually be what's the most expensive car you ever sold?
I sold for myself personally.
Isn't just trading, just whether
Rolls Royce, Cullinan.
Wow. Oh, was that based on commissions or?
Commission.
Okay, what was one that you bought that you sold?
Bought and sold myself. I've done many. You said what's the most expensive one, right?
Yeah.
I'd say a Mercedes S-Class.
Allah bet it. And what's the cheapest one? Like, what's the entry point?
Like
old banger Ford Fiesta. or something.
Literally, yeah, like a Ford Focus or something.
So you're saying you could be buying that, flipping it, get to the point where you get S-Class.
Yeah, that's
And then-
literally how I done it, yeah.
And how long would that time take? Let's just say a person starts.
I took a lot of L's along the way. I took many L's, but
Which is why your course is beneficial because I assume you teach people
yeah, so you go past the L's.
how to not do that. Don't make the mistakes that you made, right?
I took a lot of
That's the
losses,
benefit
yeah.
of having a mentor, a trainer, or whatever have you.
Yeah, so what actually got me into it is I bought my first car and I borrowed money from my parents. I was in college, broke, no job. So I was like, cool, I'm gonna buy this car, and the plan was that I'm gonna do some sort of Uber, like get what do you call them? Those
Licenses.
Yeah, the license for it and whatnot.
PSO, PTO. PCO.
Yeah. So anyway, I was like, I'll give you guys the money back and whatnot, and they were calm. Like, here you go, do your thing. Bought the car. I didn't even make it home. It broke down on the way. I opened up the coolant bottle because it was a BMW 3 Series. It was showing a coolant bottle sign. Opened up the coolant bottle and it was just like pudding, like oil mixed with matting. Yeah, matting. Calling the guy, he's a Romanian guy. I'm calling him. He's just not answering. I was like, oh, she got scammed. That's it. I was like, nah. And again, like, it's not like money was difficult for me back then. So I was thinking of a solution. So I'm figuring out how can I get this fixed. I'm going to this mechanic, to that mechanic. I'm asking this guy, that guy, this shop, that shop. Eventually I got the car fixed, but I wasn't willing to pay the garage about £2,000, £3,000 to fix it. I was like, there's 100% another way to do it. So it started from there. I looked for another car, found the same car. The body was all messed up, mashed up. Bought that. This one had no engine, but a good body. Took the parts from this one, put it in this one, fixed it, and then eventually just sold it because, again, I put more money in, right? So I made it back out for profit. And I was like, whoa. Literally what you said. I could do something here. And yeah, from there I just kept going. And I just kept flipping until I got to Range Rovers, Mercedes, BMWs. And this goes back to yesterday's topic. Lack of knowledge in business. I didn't know how to get even... I know how to multiply, maths and make money, but I don't have the logical aspect of understanding business. I don't know how can I make this go even further.
How to scale it.
Yeah, greater, scale it. I didn't know how to do it. So what I would do is I would just have these cars now and just rent them.
Okay.
Yeah, just rent them out and just try and add more cars onto the fleet. Like fix this one, it's on the market value, rent it for about a month, 2 months, 3 months. I wouldn't rent it for a long time. It was a lot of headache and I didn't have time to deal with it. So I'd rent it for like a couple of months, make £3,000, £4,000, £5,000, sell it. So now I've made what, 2-3K on flipping the car, 4 or 5K on renting the car. And I'll just do that. And I'll live off it. So
You flipped it.
flipped it, yeah.
Allah, mashallah. So, in case anyone wants to know where they can find your course,
Flip Whips Institute, so www.flipwhipsinstitute.com.
flipwhipsinstitute.com. Barakallah feek.
Coming back to Jimmy, I wanted to ask you a question. When you reverted, where were you at in terms of business? Like, what were you doing at that time? And how did your reversion to Islam affect your paradigm for business?
Oh, wow. Okay. So during that time, I had 2 cafes.
Okay.
2 cafes. So I had a small takeaway coffee and cake type of style of a cafe. Extremely high volume. The coffee sales were crazy. I think we were pumping about 60 to 70 kilos a week for a small little cafe, cafe
60
shop.
kilos.
60 to
coffee
70
beans.
kilos.
So
a
how many
week.
how many cups of coffee is there?
If I remember correctly, there are about 40 cups per kilo.
Wow.
Yeah.
Is it 60
2,400.
kilos?
Yeah.
60 times 40.
Yeah.
Allah barik.
Yeah. Depending how much coffee you waste. But that's pretty much the equation where you're looking at. Then I had my other cafe, which was about an 87-seater cafe.
87-seater.
Yeah.
Wow.
That was a massive one.
Allah
That was a monster. That was scary. Everyone told me, don't buy it. Don't go into it. I was like, yeah, who cares? Let's do it. Yes, alhamdulillah, that was good.
But so I assume with the cafe, there's not really anything that's haram that's involved, right?
Well, your produce, right? So over in Australia, like it's a bacon country.
Oh, you still okay? Yes.
Yes,
Okay.
everyone just wants for breakfast bacon. Right?
Okay.
Everyone goes to a cafe at 6 a.m. Over here, everyone's asleep.
Yeah.
You know? Like you're lucky someone will be at a cafe at 10 a.m.
Yeah.
So the traditional, let's say, Aussie style cafe, right? It's bacon and eggs or big breakfast with bacon on the side, whatever. All right. So that was the complication. The coffee and cake cafe, that wasn't, because there was no food. It was just like sausage rolls, whatever, spinach rolls, meat pies, chuck it into the oven. That's it. Here it is. And then all your desserts, your tarts. So now coming to Islam from there, one of my best friends, also one of my managers, my operations manager, he essentially intrigued me through Islam, through the religion, because he saw me that I was very God conscious and I was trying to find my purpose, I guess, or God.
Were you religious before?
No.
Atheist.
Yeah. So let's say fast forward from all of that, the big turning point was I saw a screensaver on his phone, which was the Prophet's Mosque.
Okay.
And from that, I was like, wow, where's that? It's like, it's in Medina. It's like, where's Medina? It's like, Saudi Arabia. I'm like, let's go next week. Like, no, you can't. I was like, tell me where I can and can't go, man. Let's go. We've got enough staff. I'll buy the ticket. I'll pay for everything. We'll go.
What made you want to? Just like you saw the picture?
I just saw the photo and then just, I
Calling.
felt my heart just like pull towards it. And
City of the Prophet.
This is after Islam, right?
no,
before.
This will
Yeah.
brought you to Islam.
Yeah, this is what really led me the way.
So you wanted to go to Umrah?
I wanted to
Before
go
you
to
were with
Medina.
Islam.
Yeah, I was like, and he just kept saying no and no and no. He's like, you're not a Muslim, you can't go. Like, you won't be allowed in. I was like, how are they going to know? You're Filipino Greek. How are they going to know? He's like, yeah, but I got a bit of a beard. I'm just like, buy me a beard. Chuck it on. We'll go. It's just not going to work. And I told him, I said, one day I'm going to be there. And there's no one on this planet that's going to stop me.
SubhanAllah.
SubhanAllah, I was there this year. Alhamdulillah.
Allah better.
Allah Akbar.
But now let's say going back to your question, as a revert, how did it, affect my decisions for business? Right. Look, it was very challenging. Very, very challenging. Especially because when there is financials, right, involved.
Of course.
So the main cafe, the big one, right, the 87-seater, whatever it was,
Monster.
the Monster, right. Straight away, once I reverted, I took out all the alcohol.
Straight away, over.
Straight away.
Wow.
The staff were like confused. Like, what are you doing? I was like, I was not bothered. We're making good money. I'm like, yeah, I'm not bothered. I don't want to go buy the alcohol and bring it back, because no one knew at that time, because I was very, in a sense, shy about it.
Yeah.
Because especially over in Australia, people are very judgmental.
Yeah.
Right? And this is for myself. I'm not going to go publicly saying, I'm a Muslim now. This is for myself, for my own well-being, right? That I was been searching for. So I didn't have to tell anyone that, didn't need it to know. So I took out all the alcohol. SubhanAllah, for some odd reason, we did not take a hit in the turnover.
SubhanAllah.
I was like, okay. But now the hardest part was actually the bacon at the start. I was like, all right, what do I do? What not to do? What do I do? Like, I was very, very scared, extremely scared, right? Very, very scared. My first step was, all right, separate everything first. Always separate it. You have your own utensils, your own cooking equipment for it, whatever, everything's labeled, at least just to do that. And there was a constant battle in my head, because the bacon sales alone, like, astaghfirullah, but it was like close to $10,000 a week.
SubhanAllah.
If I had to itemize it,
It's a lot of
it was
money.
close to $10,000 a week.
In comparison to coffee?
Comparison to the whole weekly turnover.
Wow.
So we were doing about anywhere between $40,000 to $45,000 a week.
So that's a quarter of your
Yeah.
weekly revenue.
So think about it, like a fresh revert that's just came to this and it's like, oh, this is a bit scary.
Even alcohol, I was surprised that it was.
Yeah,
overnight.
for me,
Like,
alcohol
normally
was,
it takes a bit of.
yeah, for
takes
me,
a bit of
alcohol
time.
was fine. Right? I was like, oh, whatever. But this part was the biggest component because it's
The bread and butter.
the bread and butter. You know, everyone goes to a cafe because of that, and not just that. My customer base.
There's a signature thing in Australia, right?
That's right. It's a signature thing, and our customer base were all Anglo-Saxons.
Yeah, no, because it's very hard. Once you have an existing model, it's very hard to change. Even yesterday, we had a meeting with that brother, and he was talking about a particular product. I can't mention too much; it's quite confidential. That he's looking to build, right? It's a software. And I asked him, like, why doesn't WhatsApp just do this? Or, you know, these other big companies, why don't they just do that? And he mentioned, look, because they would have to start from the ground up, and their customer base is already used to the current system. It would be very difficult for them to bring it in. But if you're starting from scratch, it's easy. You can do whatever you want. But as you said, you've already got systems in place. You've already got everything in place. So I can't imagine how
Scary.
troubling that would have been for you. Yeah.
So
like,
what
come on.
happened next?
Then eventually, I just took the leap. I just done it.
Allah.
I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna remove it. The staff say anything, I was like, well, tough luck. Customers say anything, tough luck. We got beef bacon, and we got the best one in a sense in the market. Even kind of looked like it. You know, it sort of looked like it. It's just a little bit skinnier. But if you overcook it, it gets a little bit chewy. But it was just the best that we could get, and they were only given to selected cafes from that supplier. Alhamdulillah, it's, you know, when I think about it, I was like, I should have just done it at the start, because even after I removed the bacon,
We didn't take a hit.
You didn't take a hit.
I didn't take a hit.
Subhanallah.
I did not take a hit. Yeah, you had people complain.
But they ordered other things to replace it.
That's right. And my comeback was, do you enjoy the food? Yes, absolutely. Tastes amazing. Do you enjoy the view? Because it was a waterfront cafe. It's like, yes, we love it. Customer service is good? Yes, always impeccable. Okay. What are you complaining about? It's like, there's no bacon. I was like, okay. But everything else is fine. And you still finish your food? Yeah. Okay. Coffee was good? Yeah, coffee's good. Okay. Oh, weather looks good as well. What are you complaining about?
No bacon.
Yeah. And it was like, oh, no bacon. Yeah, but you still ate the food and you're still here. I still see you every day. And they're just like, oh. And then they start to think like, oh, maybe it's okay. Maybe we don't need bacon. If you want to, just go have it at home. Like, well, what do you want me to do? Like, now it's changed. This is what it is. These are the rules, and that's it. As long as everything else, all the boxes are still ticked, that's it. And we did not take a hit. Did not take a hit.
You know, people need to just really, what I just digest this is that the promise of Allah is true.
Literally.
You know, you never leave something for the sake of Allah except to replace it with something better. Allah Azza wa Jalla is not going to punish you for your obedience to Him. Allah Azza wa Jalla is not going to deprive you.
You might test your patience.
Which I was going to come to that. He won't deprive you for the good that you've done by depriving you of these good things. But as Abubakr said, He might test you for your patience. For some people, they might have to wait a bit longer to prove themselves. Allah, I'm actually truthful to my claim that I believe, and then I'm going to sacrifice for your sake. So then Allah Azza wa Jalla will test you. Okay, well, let's see if you can actually put not your money where your mouth is, but you know what I'm saying? You can actually fulfill this promise that you have. So sometimes it might take you 2, 3, 4, 5, maybe 10 years. But Allah promised, وَالْعَاقِبَةُ لِلْمُتَّقِينَ, that the final outcome, the success is for the believers. Shocks me, like, you know, when it comes to, for example, riba, there's an ayah Allah Azza wa Jalla said, يَا أَيُّهَا الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا لَا تَأْكُلُوا الرِّبَا أَضْعَافًا مُضَاعَفًا وَاتَّقُوا اللَّهَ لَعَلَّكُمْ تُفْلِحُونَ. Allah said, don't eat riba. Don't eat riba. Don't engage in interest and usury so that you can be successful. It's shocking because a person will think, I have to do that in order to be successful.
So,
A person thinking, my business won't be successful if I don't use, for example, music. If I don't, for example, use women. If, for example, I don't use what? Riba, all these other things. Allah is saying, it will not be successful if you do this. Rather, success comes from staying away from these things. But people don't realize. But that's a very inspirational story, akhi. Jazakallah khair.
something funny happened the other day. I thought to mention it.
Go on.
It's something goes back to something that you used to tell us, and you were right, obviously, but it was just funny. We went the other day to transfer the cars into the name. We had to go to like an official building, the Tashkil Center. As he's walking in, he was wearing a thobe, right, a short sleeve. The guy pointed at his arms and said, "No, you're not allowed." Like, I thought, wait, because he got tattoos. Like, I was like, no, the guy's Muslim. Like, he's a revert. No, he's not allowed. I was like, wait, I was so confused. Like, why would he not be allowed? Because that was like, I don't get it. And then
The short sleeve though.
then he was like, yeah. Then he was like, you can't wear a short sleeve thobe. Yeah.
Moroccan
I was confused. I was like, okay, cool.
Was that a governmental
No,
building?
sorry. So I still thought it was a tattoo. So I was like, cool, I'll swap thobes with him. I was doing a long sleeve thobe. He's in short. I said, I'll wear his thobe. He wear my thobe. He goes, no, it's not him. It's the thobe that's the problem. I was like, what? He's you know those Moroccan thobes that you always call pajama
The
thobes.
pajamas here, yeah.
No, sorry. Moroccan thobes are not pajama thobes.
No,
But
here.
sleeveless thobes here are pajama thobes.
That's what I mean, sleeveless thobes.
Yeah.
As in those Moroccan thobes that we usually
I don't
wear.
want a Moroccan person to be disrespected. They're gonna say that's our natural dress. That's our cultural dress. Sorry.
Yeah, but as in, hate seeing his pajamas.
They do.
Even I used to walk
Yeah,
around with it.
it is.
And this guy told me it's pajamas. Bro, no, it's not, bro. What are you talking about? It's not pajamas.
Yeah, here
And
they
that
consider
day I
it.
realized, like, wow, they actually do consider it pajamas. Yeah.
And it's true, it happened to us as well. But they didn't let a couple of brothers with me into the building because they were wearing those though.
Governmental building.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, no.
There's a
Yeah,
brother I
it's
know. He wouldn't like it to be mentioned, but he's one of our co-hosts on Travel Bhai. See if it happened to him. But we were in the book fair in Sharjah. Guy just drew him out, sat him down for half an hour. He was speaking to him in Arabic. The Prophet didn't understand. We basically telling him, "Stove, don't wear it."
Had a pajama.
It's literally like wearing a pajama on the streets.
Yeah, that makes sense. Like, I wore it to a restaurant and everyone just stared at me. I thought it was the tattoos, but I think it was
No, that's not
pajamas.
That's the funny thing. It's not the tattoos.
You know, ever since that day, I don't wear it anymore. I only wear it to bed now.
How have you found adjusting in terms of the traditions and the cultures and the norms of Islam? Because they're obviously quite different to what it would have been before, right? So how have you found that transition in terms of your life, your day-to-day life?
You see, it was actually very easy because my thought process, my mentality, my outlook on life, and even just my habits were already Islamic. Besides the period before, like when I was drinking, like it was just stop that. And then just learn how to make wudu and pray.
I love how you say, just stop that.
Yeah, literally.
But it is-
That's what you meant to do.
Yeah.
Just stop.
But there's probably Muslims sadly that are watching this
Yeah.
And they
that
can't.
drink alcohol that
SubhanAllah.
are struggling to stop.
People say it takes me. You can't change overnight. No, you can.
Yeah,
It just
true.
you change the moment you make a decision. If you slip up after the change, Allah's mercy will forgive you. Make tawbah, repent, come back to Him. If you slip again, Allah will forgive you. But to actually change, it just requires a decision, and decision takes seconds. The issue is that we take ages to make a decision.
Absolutely.
And how comes? Because like me, when I started practicing, in my mind it was like, dunya is bad. I can't make money. Can't have business. I need to find a cave. I need to just be alone and pray. And then, when my Arabic class bills came to £150, I was like, oh damn, Dad,
You need to
Dad,
work.
can I borrow some money, Dad? See what's going on here. But so how did you? Because you seem like you just kept it. Like, did that never enter your mind? That wait, like, I can't be making money as a Muslim, or did you? For you, there was no clash ever.
No, there was. Look, it's about pivoting, right? In life, you have to know how to pivot.
I love that.
But what do you mean by that? 'Cause pivot. I'm talking about just stepping to the side, like changing your angles.
pretty
Just slightly, just
Pretty
adjust,
much,
just
right?
adjust, just realign yourself, recalibrate.
So a pivot for me was, all right, obviously removing the alcohol, removing the bacon. Like all the meat was already halal anyways as a standard. Like even before a Muslim, when I walked in there, I was like, cool, where's all your meat from? Okay, cool. Scrap all of those supplies and get all halal ones. Even beforehand. I said, in case you have someone that's Muslim that comes in, you want to make sure that they can eat. So that was already my mentality for that. Because to me, it's like, doesn't matter your religion, your race, whatever. Everyone's going to eat here, no matter what. Everyone has the right to enjoy the food, right? So after I reverted, obviously, you have to look at your business and how can you pivot in that aspect, right? So let's say you remove all the hospitality ventures and you just look at the cars. So there's a reason why it didn't open up a car dealership in Sydney. It's because majority of people, right, they get finance on the cars.
Interest.
That's right. So I was like, well, this is impossible. I can't do it. I can't sell these cars. I can't sell high volume. And I can't even recommend someone for a finance, broker. I can't even have a part in that.
So
I was like, how am I meant to actually make some money from this? Okay, well, let's pivot. Instead of doing all that operational cost, why don't I just give one of those cars to a reputable dealer on consignment.
What does
And
consignment mean? Sorry.
you just give them the car, sign the paperwork, and they will sell the car on your behalf.
Okay.
However they want to do it.
They get
from
commission.
their business.
Commission.
Fantastic.
So maybe they'll make, I don't know, 5,000 Australian dollars or 10,000.
10,000.
Yeah, you know, whatever it is,
Depending
whatever
on
the
the car,
agreement
yeah.
is. Yeah.
I guess you guys also pivoted with regards to car rental company, like in the sense where instead of financing cars to add to your fleet, hey, you want to invest, buy a car, give it to us. We'll give you the money. We'll pay you every so often. Your commissions or whatever you want to call it, payments or
Return on investment.
return on investment. It's just there's always a way around it. That's the thing. There's
Yes.
always a way around it.
So,
But did you never have that money is evil phase? That I can't make money. I have to be a
No,
a Bedouin.
it was just really like, all right, because I was taught through other brothers as well, right? And they're Alamabetic, very successful in Sydney, you know? And they're just like, there are ways that you can still make money as a Muslim and keep it halal.
See, that reason is why we started this podcast. Is because most people
Don't have that.
who are practicing. Look, generally speaking, most people are not successful, and so generally speaking, just you're Muslim or not, you're already privileged. If you've not privileged, but it's a blessing from Allah that you have successful people around you in the first place. Let alone if you're actually on your deen and it's been something that's been criminalized, and especially a lot of Muslims do come from ethnic backgrounds where you're growing up in poverty or less privileged circumstances. You don't really necessarily have the greatest relationships with money. So we wanted to have this podcast where we showcase this positive mindset with regards to money. I remember one of my mentors, he said to me, may Allah have mercy on him, he's passed away now. One of the first things I heard from him, I think it was literally on the first day I attended a seminar that he did. He said, money is not evil. It's just not the root of all evil. He said, money is just a magnifying glass for what's in your heart.
so what do you do with it?
Yeah, he said, if your heart is good, you do good with the money. If your heart is bad, you do bad with the money. So money just tells me what's in your heart. And what's actually deep is in the Quran, Allah Azza wa Jalla consistently and continuously connects between Iman and money. Because you can say, I believe and I have this great Iman. Okay, let's see how you are with money. Are you stingy? Are you generous? Are you treacherous? Do you give people the rights? Do you fulfill the rights? These are all things that indicate your Iman. And one thing I really want to ask you, because obviously we actually sat down because we were actually planning to open up a cafe, right? We wanted to open up our own cafe. We put it on hold right now. We're just trying to rebuild the brand before we launch the Child Mobile Cafe. But one of the things that I believe is that when someone has an area of expertise, well, I just got to sit with them and learn. Just soak it all in. You're a guy, Alam Barak, who's got 2 cafes, one with 87 seats. Then we didn't even get to talk about your restaurant right now, which was, if I'm not mistaken, a fusion restaurant, right? Where it was like a modern day Italian type of thing.
Yeah, it was. Yeah. So it was like possibly, I guess, the first 100% halal pasta restaurant.
So you opened that after you were Muslim.
Yeah.
What was it called again?
Salam alaikum.
Papa pasta.
Papa Pasta. And now you sold it off, right?
Yeah, sold it off.
Allah Barak. So, like, as in, for me, it's just a no-brainer. When you want to do something, go sit with the guy. Does that make sense? So, one of the things that I always wanted to do, and I always had my eyes set on, was opening up some type of restaurant, whether it be fast food, takeaway, cafe, something. I've always had that in the back of my mind. I feel like that's something that, inshallah, I will do. Really will do one day, inshallah, with your assistance.
Inshallah.
After Allah Azza wa Jal. But just in case anyone's listening, anyone's watching, like what are the basics you'd tell someone is this a profitable industry to get involved in? What are the key things you have to look out for? What are the first few steps a person should take? We actually have one thing that's really starting to grow in the UK right now is this ghost kitchen thing, right? Where brothers, they cook in their own houses, but then people just come and buy and take orders from them.
Packages.
What's it? Kitchen coma? Food coma?
Food coma.
Food coma. One of the brothers came to Umrah with us. But the Aslam, if I'm not mistaken, his name is.
Yes.
Aslam, right?
Yes.
Food coma. He's got this, like, makes great food, and apparently it's really blowing. Like, brothers are going. I go back to the UK, people are like, bro, we need to go get food coma. Like, you have to check it out. I haven't had a chance to check it out just yet, but yeah, mashallah. Like, I feel like food is a skill that people can learn. You can learn how to cook. Most people's mums are great cooks, so you got someone in the family that can teach you. You can go to culinary school. You can acquire this skill. If a person wants to monetize it, open up a cafe, restaurant, like what would be the things that they should look at?
Honestly, the first thing is that you need to look at yourself. Right? How well can you handle pressure?
Okay.
Because hospitality is the hardest industry in the world.
Really?
I can guarantee that. because the amount of pressure and stress that you have to go through, it's at the bottom line, it's not actually worth it for that dollar, right?
Oh, wow.
It's actually not worth it. Majority of all of the, say, hospitality businesses, they don't survive for the first, after 12 months, they don't survive. They're lucky to get through 12 months.
Wow.
It's a very labor-intensive business,
Okay.
right? If you're fortunate enough to have it under management, where it's, I guess, in a sense, only like an actual business, right? Not you buying yourself a job or opening yourself a job, where it's an actual business where you can leave it with your managers and your staff and whatever. Alhamdulillah, that'll be good. But there's always going to be things where you're looking at, it's like, all right, well, let's say this week you're missing a bit of money from the till, or you're looking at this month and it's like, why is this month down? Then you're going back into the shop. It's a constant 24/7 type of business where you're always monitoring it and looking at the data, trying to analyze the data, then going through like, okay, well, how can we make next month better? How can we make in 3 months better? For me, I worked around the clock. I didn't stop. But I guess that's where the success came, right? But what I had to sacrifice, every shop that I opened for 4 months, I didn't go to the gym. I was a stick, right? When my daughter was born, I didn't see her for 4 months. It's from the time I left the hospital. Because the day after when she was born, I went straight to work.
SubhanAllah.
I did the same thing.
Yeah. So for 4
My
months.
wife doesn't let me forget. But alhamdulillah, it's not just me.
Alhamdulillah. I'm on the same boat.
No, whenever your wife brings you up, you say, look, Imran done it too. Whenever your wife brings you, listen, Jimmy done it too.
Oh, it's that my wife's going to see this, not be happy.
Like, I would leave the house, right? Like,
I promised her,
Straight
the
out
next
the
kid,
Fajr.
inshallah, I said I'm going to stay.
inshallah.
Astaghfirullah.
But it's like straight after Fajr, like I would leave, right? And then I'll get home towards midnight. 7 days a week. So, and let's say the days that at night I wasn't at the restaurant, I had other stuff, Akideh classes, I was doing other Islamic things to further my deen.
Allahumma barik. Allahumma barik.
So
Okay, I love that.
for 4 months.
Do you know what's so crazy? It's that you're a revert and you've managed to make it work, cancelling out everything that was haram. You were just like, you didn't even think about it. You were just like, okay, cool, take that away, take that away, take that away. And you're a revert. There are Muslims struggling. that is
20
nuts
years,
to like
30
let
years.
that sink in. Like Muslim brothers, they struggle. They can't let go. And he's just there like,
I think discipline plays a big part.
SubhanAllah.
Discipline is definitely a big part, right?
Would you say it was reliance as well? Like having that faith in Allah. Like
That's right. Absolutely. If there are many key factors that you need, right, to be a successful business owner or entrepreneur, right? How you can handle pressure, your resilience level through that, how thick skin that you can be, your dedication to work, how can you self-motivate yourself? There's a whole bunch of things, right? And that doesn't require a dollar. Doesn't require anything. Then after that, the other attribute you need is how can you sell? Because we're selling every minute of our life. That's the single most important, I guess, skill to have. How can you sell? If you can get all those attributes as an entrepreneur, right, then plus have the skill of selling yourself, your service, or your product, you don't need a dollar or two. You can literally just go out there and start making money.
So how does one acquire that skill? How does one develop that skill of selling?
The easiest way is actually employment. Start at the bottom, work your way. I'm not saying that you have to be in a job for the rest of your life, right? But
Get a sales job just to get the experience.
that's right. Because say this, imagine if none of us went through school, right? Where would we be? Our social skills might be less, or whatever it is. Our basic knowledge of the world might be a lot less, right? Obviously, if you're going through homeschooling, then it's a different thing because you get taught certain things and maybe you'll buddy up with other homeschooling kids. I don't know how it works. But school is like that foundation to prepare you for real life, like further ahead, right? So now when you go to employment, you go to sales, start from the bottom, learn how to sell that product or service, whoever you're working for, and just learn from your management team, learn from your other staff or, you know, your staff members. Go to YouTube as well. YouTube is the best place for knowledge.
No, 100%.
Very,
You
yeah,
know?
that is so true.
Like, look at, I don't know, the other techniques of selling. What type of techniques are there? What type of selling do you want to, you know, learn in that aspect? You know, for me personally, I'll go through emotional selling. That's for me the best way to sell any product or service.
So
Psychological as
what,
well.
what do you mean by emotional selling?
You have to figure out their pain points, right? That's one of the main parts. So if you can figure out their pain points and why they're coming to you, not that you're manipulating, right? But you're reinforcing why they need that product or service.
So I'm a tourist. I've just landed in Dubai airport. Sell me a rental car.
Essentially, okay. So Abubakr, how long are you here for?
There for about a week and a half,
Oh,
10 days.
First time in Dubai?
No,
Okay, when were the other times that you came?
just came with my wife, a little holiday.
Oh, amazing,
Friends, yeah.
amazing. And what did you get up to before?
Just went to sightsee, you know, tourist places, went to a few restaurants, cafes. Spent a lot of time in the hotel, to be honest.
Okay. When you were traveling around, how was your travel experience?
Just called taxis. It was all right. Wasn't too expensive. It was sometimes a bit of a headache to get a taxi in the right place at the right time. Sometimes you have to wait a long time for, you know, Uber to come or whatever.
Yeah, definitely, I can understand. It's a very frustrating scenario,
Yeah.
especially with the wife there. You know, the kids.
Yeah.
Everyone's screaming, kicking.
Yeah.
You know, the wife's going to start nagging you once you get back. I
Oof.
can understand. I can understand. Have you seen all those nice supercars or muscle cars that have been, you know, flying around Dubai?
Yeah, I mean, I hear them first, and then I look, you know, where's that coming from? And then I see it, and I'm like, oh, wow, that's nice. But that costs an arm and a leg.
Do you know how much they cost?
What, millions? Hundreds of thousands?
How about I can think about this. You can enjoy that Dubai experience
Okay.
with your family, with your kids, for a lot less than that. So let's say our Ford Mustang,
Okay.
California Special,
Okay.
convertible. Oof. MashaAllah, very beautiful car.
Wow.
It's not that expensive as you think. Let's say 600 dirhams a day. How much is that in pounds?
It's about £130.
Would you agree that's affordable?
I like that.
I like that. Yeah, I like that.
I mean, it's definitely not
Nah,
hundreds. It's definitely not hundreds of thousands. It's definitely not millions.
very.
Sat, man, don't fight it, bro.
For
Just
10
buy it.
days,
Give
that's
them
like
money.
1,300. That's like half my monthly salary.
Okay. Or do you need it for 10 days?
Do I need it at all?
Give them your money.
Okay. Or how about I can give you a better deal?
Okay.
One day for free.
Okay. Perfect. Perfect. Let's say this. Let's say however much we agree upon with this deal.
hmm
Would you say it's worth it in the long run because your family will be happy?
I mean, if my family's happy, then yeah, of course, I'll do anything to make my family happy.
Perfect. Let's come up with that deal then.
Okay, let's make that deal happen.
Give me your money, bro.
Now.
Give them the money now, bro. That was very good. Allah Barik. I really like that. MashaAllah. 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 Allah Barik. That was
So
very
casual, like,
So,
it's a conversation.
in case anyone's thinking, I want to learn to develop this skill, I want, like any particular book, any course, anything, anywhere you sell them or anything you send them to. Sorry.
Jimmy's School of Sales coming soon.
That's quite a bit actually. It's on my Audible. It's quite a bit of books. Yeah.
If there was one,
A good starting point.
Good starting point. I'll bring it up. Give me 2 minutes.
no, take
2
your time.
minutes.
Take your time.
I noticed you've got the Masjid Nabawi as your screensaver.
Oh, yeah.
Wow.
This was the first Umrah that we done. I think it was in March.
Allah Barik.
Allah,
Yeah,
man.
that's when I
That's
was
your
there.
own picture.
Yeah, I was like, all right.
Show it to the camera. That's actually deep.
So he went from seeing it on someone else's phone to now having it on his own phone, and he actually took the picture.
You took that on his own.
And then the
You
other
made it.
phone is the actual screensaver that got my attention.
Yeah.
That's the other phone. I was like, ooh,
Oh, wow.
I'm gonna save this.
Wow, man.
Yeah. So let's say, what's the single most important book or audio book? So the reason why I use audiobooks is because I'm always on the road, and I sort of have sleep apnea. So I can't really just sit still for too long. And if I'm reading, I just fall asleep.
Okay.
Yeah, so got to keep moving. This really works, audiobooks. So the most impactful book. Tim S. Grover, Relentless.
Relentless.
Yeah.
It's a sales book.
Not a sales book, it's more of a personal development book.
Okay.
So he was, I believe, was a professional, in a sense, motivator, like trainer, right, for basketball players.
Okay.
Yeah. So I'm not going to say who. You guys have to download it and then listen to that audiobook.
Okay. That's proper, yeah?
Yeah, proper.
Chris Rover.
No, Tim Rover.
Tim Rover. Tim Rover.
Tim S. Rover.
Okay, I'm going to check it out,
Yeah.
inshallah.
Tim S. Grover.
Tim S.
sorry.
Grover.
Yeah.
Okay, sorry, Tim S. Grover.
So you don't want to
Relentless.
just like jump into a sales book, because if you don't build yourself, you're just going to quit. From after, if let's say you're working hard, you've put in 10 hours a day of studying for whatever type of sales thing that you're doing at work, right? And let's say after 2 weeks you don't get that sale, what's going to happen?
Gonna crush you.
That's right. You're going to give up. You're going to close whatever. You're going to quit. That's it.
Unless you're relentless.
Unless you're relentless. That's
Allah
right.
Barik.
That's right. So if you can build yourself, after that, then you go into a sales book. But personally, as a sales book, I actually don't have any sales books because I've just done everything through employment.
One I'd add, which is a book very helpful when it comes to influence and persuasion, a book called How to Win Friends and Influence People.
Yes, that is a good
That's
book.
one. Also, something a little bit more advanced, but very beneficial is Influence by Robert Cialdini. Two very good books. Very good books. But Relentless, I'm going to check that out.
Inshallah.
Well, brother Jimmy, Jazakallah khair, man.
Barakallah
Today, truly beneficial, touching, moving, motivating, inspirational experience with yourself. I hope the brothers and if there are any sisters listening are also inspired, and they, inshallah ta'ala, are going to now strive to aspire towards righteousness and richness bi'idhnillah. With that said, we've got love you and leave you, people. Subhanak Allahumma wa bihamdik ashhadu an la ilaha illa ant astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.